You have big dreams of losing weight and creating a healthy, joyful life. But you find yourself craving sugar, caught up in what the scale says, and diet hopping. Dieting is the old way of losing weight. And the good news is I'm going to give you a new way of eating so you can ditch diets for good and build a healthy relationship with real food. My name is Megan Olson, certified nutrition practitioner, creator of Skinny Fitalicious, and your host of the Dish on Diets show.
Hello friends, today we're talking about why you can't lose weight no matter what you do. I thought of this topic because I've had several conversations with women in my free consultations recently and women who reach out to me on social media recently, and all of them keep saying to me, Megan, I can't lose weight no matter what I do. And yes, just so you know, I answer all of my social media messages myself. It's not anybody else you're talking to. And so anyways, when I have these conversations with women, whether it's in my free consultations or on social media, one of the things I keep hearing from women is I can't lose weight no matter what I do, no matter how hard I try. I don't know what to do. So clearly these women are very frustrated and feeling like there's something wrong with them. And listen, if this is you, there is nothing wrong. All of this stuff is figure outable. But I've got 8 questions to help you get unstuck today, and we're going to go through these one by one. And so if this is you and you've been feeling stuck and frustrated, I just want you to know there's a solution to all this, and this episode is going to help you figure some of this stuff out. But before we get to that stuff, quick reminder that I'm still doing my monthly cookbook giveaway on the podcast for the year of 2024. So today is the first week of August, so I am announcing, first of all, the July cookbook winner. Wentla is the username, Wentla. You're the winner of my cookbook for the month of July. She writes in her review, I'm a follower of Megan on Instagram and have used many of her recipes. This podcast gives me some really good things to think about in terms of my relationship with food and with my weight loss struggles. It is real life application and sometimes just seems very practical, but makes a lot of sense. I encourage everyone to take a listen. So thank you so much for your awesome review and for everybody who entered in July. Wentla, please make sure you send me an email, megan@skinnyfitalicious.com, so I can send you a copy of my cookbook. And if you would like to get a free copy of my cookbook sent to you as well, you want to get entered to win for the month of August, all you have to do is click on the Apple Podcast app on your device, select the Dish on Ditching Diets podcast episode, and you'll see my face. Just click on my face, scroll to the very bottom, and leave a written review with a 5-star rating. There's usually like 3 or 4 reviews each month, so you've got a good chance of winning, guys. I announce the winners on the podcast at the beginning of each month, so make sure that you're also tuning in each month to find out if you're a winner. Okay. With that, let's dive into why you can't lose weight no matter what you do or how hard you try. So I'm going to ask you 8 questions today to help you figure this out and get unstuck. So if you ran into me on the street or at Target and asked me, Megan, I've been following you for a while. Please tell me why I just can't lose weight. These are the kind of things I would ask you. First question I'd ask you is, are you actually losing weight? Are you losing weight, but it's so slow that you keep diminishing your progress? And are you only measuring progress with the scale? Are you taking measurements? Are your measurements going down, but the scale is staying the same? Are you taking progress pictures? Ladies, I can't stress this enough. Diet culture has really taught many of you to measure your success with a number on the scale or tie your self-worth to a number on the scale. If this is you, you have to get out of this mindset of tying your success and your self-worth to the scale. If you don't do this, you are going to be incarcerated in a diet prison for life, chasing scale numbers and dieting. You need to track measurements and take pictures, not just look at the scale. And I cannot tell you how many times I've seen clients lose 2 or 3 pant sizes and get really hung up on the fact that the scale isn't where they want it to be or it hasn't gone down yet. Sometimes the scale does lag. I've seen this happen. And if this is you and you are making progress, but you're diminishing progress, we really need to look at that. And it's truly, truly incredible how many clients, how many women over 35 I've seen over the years who try to convince me that nothing's working, nothing's happening when the data is right there in front of them. Measurements are going down month after month after month after month, and yet they will complain that the scale isn't going down. Their clothes are fitting better. They're fitting into smaller clothes. Their body composition's looking better. They're getting stronger, and yet they're still complaining that the scale isn't going down. If this is you, why do you do that? How does focusing on a number on the scale as a measurement of success helping you? What does this number even represent to you? Do you even know? Because all this does is lead to sabotage and giving up. Health is not a scale weight. Health is feeling comfortable in your body. Having a healthy relationship with food, not going to Screw-It-ville each time you eat something less nutritious. Having a healthy relationship with your body, your self-image, and with exercise. Having good labs, fueling your body with the nutrients you need, getting adequate protein and fiber most of the time, knowing what your caloric needs are. What is not so healthy is obsessing and focusing so much on a number on the scale. That, all it does is lead to disordered eating, disordered behaviors with food and exercise, and an unhealthy relationship with food. The scale is just one piece of data, but it should not be the only thing you're measuring to determine whether or not you're making progress. Listen, I had a client a while back, and I actually shared a reel about this on Instagram because I just thought it was so fascinating. This client, every time she came to a coaching call, she'd tell me, Megan, nothing's working. I'm doing all this work. I'm working so hard. See, nothing's working. I've tried losing weight 1,000,000 times, and it's never worked. I've got PCOS. I just can't lose weight. Here I am as her coach, and I'm looking at her measurements month after month after month, and her inches are going down, down, down. They were drastically going down, but you could see every single month, everything, she was losing body fat. Everything was going down. No doubt about it. She was losing body fat. And finally, I said to her, why do you refuse to see your own progress? You're doing great. This is how fat loss is supposed to happen. It's supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be slow. This is how it should work. You're succeeding. After I said that to her, it was like finally something clicked, and she suddenly began to allow herself to see that she was making progress toward her goal. But it was really fascinating how, and I've seen this with other clients, it was really fascinating how the facts were there in black and white, and she could see it. I had it on a table, and yet she was like, nothing's working. Nothing's working. It's not working. And so this is my question to you. Like, for those of you who say, I can't lose weight no matter what, are you actually losing weight, but you're refusing to see the data, or maybe you're not tracking the data properly? I do think a lot of women are doing this. Like, if you just kept going, I think a lot of women would actually finally get there. Like, think about how many times you have diminished your progress and said things like, I only lost 1 pound, or I only lost 2 pounds, or I only lost whatever the number was. Or I only dropped 1 pant size, right? I went down a pant size and the scale still hasn't gone down. I think a lot of women do this. You totally put down your successes. You don't allow yourself to see any of the successes you mean. So I think a lot of women over 35 are actually losing body fat, but they do not, one, take measurements, and they put way too much emphasis into the scale number, and two, they do not allow themselves to see and appreciate the small progress they're making because it's slow. I mean, it's so important to be honest with yourself in this journey and learn to look objectively at your data. If you think 1 pound isn't very much, I really encourage you to go to the grocery store and look at 1 pound of apples, 1 pound of potatoes. That is a pretty significant amount. That is not something to diminish. So yeah. And I think a lot of you, like my client, are making progress, but you're just so quick to dismiss it. It's not enough. It's not good enough. It's not fast enough. We're so used to Amazon Prime and DoorDash and having everything at our fingertips these days. Listen, unless you do something drastic and unsustainable, something that is going to cause you to be starving, it's going to be slow. That's the trade-off. You either go slow or you starve yourself and you're hungry and you're less compliant and it's not sustainable. And there's consequences metabolically and to hormones. There's a lot of consequences to doing that. So, I mean, it's like that's the trade-off you're looking at here. And let's not also overlook this very important fact that you are improving your health, right? All the stuff you're doing, like getting your steps and sleeping more and cutting out the alcohol and getting more protein and fiber, eating balanced meals, tracking your food, getting some strength training. These are all ways you're improving your health. Even if you're not losing inches or scale weight right now today, you are improving your health. You are getting stronger. You are getting fitter. You are maybe improving your cardiovascular endurance. You're learning to show up for yourself. You're learning to take care of your body, move your body, prioritize you. Think about food differently. Have a better relationship with food. These are all wins. But we are sure quick to overlook them, aren't we? Listen, progress is progress, and progress happens in many ways. Many of us don't choose to look at it that way. Our mindset sucks, and so the only thing we look at is the number on the scale. Look for all the ways you're making progress, not just the stinky scale. And instead of saying to yourself, you can't lose weight no matter what you do, say, I am losing weight slowly and I'm improving my health. If I keep going, I am guaranteed to get there. Because that's the truth. How does quitting and sabotage make yourself get there faster? Please explain to me. All that does is make your journey longer. I think it's a much better mindset to say, I am losing weight slowly and I am improving my health. And if I keep going, I'm going to get there. Don't you think that's a better mindset? I mean, please stop. Just stop investing all your success in just the scale. It is one tiny piece of data. It's not the entire marker of your health or your success. And listen, for some of you who keep chasing scale weights, I hate to say this to you, but the body of your dreams, it might weigh more than you think it should. This is such a difficult concept for women to wrap their head around because they still think like dieters. There's just been so much diet culture ingrained in them. I had a client that I've been working with this past year who's very tall and very active. And when we started working together, her scale weight was at 230. And her scale weight is still hanging out in the 230s. But she has completely changed her body composition. She's gone down 3 pant sizes. And every single person she sees says, oh my God, you've lost a ton of weight. You look totally different. You look so fit and great. And mentally, she can just not get over like how she is still at the same scale weight, yet her body composition looks totally different. You see, when we first started working together, I did not let her use a scale because I knew for her, it was going to sabotage her. So we only used measurements for a while. And then when we got done with her first fat loss phase and began working on maintenance, that's when I introduced the scale, and very shortly after that, she had a mental meltdown because she had dropped 3 pant size, but her scale weight was still the same, and she just couldn't wrap her head around this. It was literally causing so much anguish for her. And we had to do a lot of mental work on her relationship with the scale and what that number represented for her. And I'm happy to say that fast forward to today, she's perfectly fine with that number. She's able to get on the scale without it sabotaging her or having a mental breakdown, but it's taken a lot of deeper work for her to get to this place. And I think, honestly, this is one of the benefits of having a nutrition coach because they can reassure you what is going on in this process is normal and what you should expect. You know, like this client, I told her, like, sometimes a scale lags. I've seen this before with other clients. that sometimes it takes a while for the scale to catch up with what you're doing. I had a client similar to her too. It took about 18 months before the scale really dropped under 200 pounds. And we started to see like the scale catch up with everything that she was doing. Even though her pant size was going down, even though her body composition looked amazing, the scale just wasn't reflecting it. It just takes time. And I do think a lot of women are kind of in this camp where they just give up too quickly, and progress is happening slowly in the background, but they're sabotaging themselves because one, they're not really, sure how this should work. They're thinking it's not normal. And this is where I think a coach can help you, because they can tell you what's normal, not normal, and what you should expect. And when you've been exposed to so much diet culture for so many years, it's really easy to slip back into this old diet version of yourself and living and dying by that scale. A nutrition coach can reassure you you're on the right path and you're making progress. Just keep going. And I do feel there is a subset of women who do just refuse to see progress. They're just negative Nancy's, and they just refuse to see progress no matter what. They really struggle to accept any success. They struggle to accept that fat loss is slow, and they can't accept small progress is progress. A while back, I actually had a client a while back who went to her doctor. And of course, when you go to the doctor, they throw you on that stupid scale. And the doctor said to her, you should fire your nutritionist because you haven't lost any weight yet. Now, this client had just started a fat loss phase like 3 or 4 weeks before going to her doctor. So she's like less than a month in. And we were not doing anything extreme because she came from a history of crash dieting, doing chronic diets like 800 calorie shake program diets and Optavia, lots and lots of dieting, lots of crash dieting. And this stuff, does put a lot of stress on the metabolism. It does make weight loss harder. It does downregulate your metabolic rate. She had an unhealthy relationship with food, still saw food as good or bad. Her sugar cravings were very high. There was a lot of obsession around food. And so for 4 months prior to working on her calorie deficit, we had to work on healing her relationship with food, helping her eat balanced meals, no longer seeing food as good or bad, working on her sugar cravings, eating enough protein, eating enough fiber, teaching her how to track her food and read food labels, build the habit of walking and moving, improving her all or nothing mindset. These are all foundational habits that she needed to work on in order to create a sustainable plan to keep any weight off long term. And that stuff had to be in place before we could even get to a calorie deficit. So when her doctor said you should fire your nutritionist, she immediately started questioning everything she had been doing. And she started saying the same things. I should have already lost the weight. And you know what I said to her? No, you shouldn't have lost the weight yet. Your habits were a shit show. You've been a crash dieter. We've had to fix all that before we could even get to the weight loss piece. And I reminded her that we spent the first 4 months working on these things, her habits, mindset, and relationship with food, and how that was success, how that was progress. She should feel really proud of that. But here's the deal. Her doctor shamed her so badly, made her feel so terrible that she couldn't see that those 4 months were a success. It really is a shame. She even tried showing her doctor her food tracker and her calories. She told him she wasn't lying and that she was doing the work and she had been really consistent. He didn't even want to see it. He wasn't interested in seeing anything she wanted to show him. And ironically, we were charting her scale weight, and her scale weight was starting to come down, even though we had just started her deficit for 3 or 4 weeks, which isn't something I typically see with a lot of clients. But when you go to the doctor, they put you on the scale, and it's like one point in time, and her scale weight happened to be up that day. And I don't find any value in one piece of data like that when it comes to your health. You really have to have multiple pieces of data. It's like taking your blood pressure one time and concluding you have high blood pressure and you're probably going to have a heart attack tomorrow, when maybe you just had too much caffeine or coffee for breakfast that morning before you went to the doctor. I mean, context is really important. Having multiple data points is important because there's always a lot of nuance, right? And the unfortunate thing is we live in a world where we have doctors who shame patients for being overweight. And it really is a shame. You know, doctors who are doing this kind of stuff to their patients, doctors who are not trained in medical school in behavior change or nutrition. And I don't think doctors realize how truly difficult it is to help people change their behaviors around with food, especially when they come from a complicated history of diet culture and crash dieting. And as a side note, if you are a physician listening to this today, please, for the love of God, stop doing this stuff to patients. Stop shaming patients. This stuff takes time. This client worked really hard, and this doctor sabotaged my client. This client ultimately gave up. It doesn't happen very often, but I've had a handful of clients whose doctors have deliberately gotten in the way of what my clients were working on and their success. This client made so much progress, and it was so disheartening to see how upset she was from this doctor shaming her, and it was all unnecessary. And unfortunately, now that she quit, her journey is likely going to be a lot longer. She is going to have a longer and harder journey because of what this doctor said to her and shamed her of. Because now she's probably going to do a crash diet where she's going to lose weight as quickly as possible just to appease this doctor and show them that the scale went down, but it's not going to be sustainable. And then all of a sudden the weight's going to come back on over time. And she's going to be right back at square one. It's really, truly unfortunate. Unfortunately, doctors are not trained in nutrition or behavior change. Going to a doctor for your nutrition is like going to a dentist to fix a broken arm. We're all in the medical field, but trained in our own specialties, and I wish people would get this. I so wish more doctors would stay in their lane, refer their patients to their nutritionist, or talk to the nutritionist. Like say, hey, let me reach out to your nutritionist so I can get the full story here. But unfortunately, our medical system, as we know, sucks, and it's not set up to do this very well across different, different specialties. And so this is what we got. And unfortunately, a lot of doctors are acting like this, shaming patients, and they don't recognize how hard it is to get a client to change their behavior with food and exercise. It's really, really hard. And I have friends who are doctors. We've talked about this. And I've told them like some of the things that I do with my clients, and they're always like, oh, I never thought about that before. I'm like, right, because you're not trained in this area, right? How would you know? Right? Just like I wouldn't know like how much medication to prescribe to somebody. I'm not trained in that area. I stay in my lane. I refer my clients out. But anyways, back to the point here. There are some women who refuse to see the progress that they're making. So my question to you is, are you making progress but not letting yourself see it? Is progress happening but it's slow? I think a lot of women, might be a true statement for them, because I've just seen so many client cases where they've done this. I can't lose weight. See, I can't lose weight no matter what I'm doing. And I'm like looking at the data. The data is right there, but they're not seeing it. Humans are fascinating. Like they will see the facts right in the front of their face, but then they will somehow convince themselves with their emotions all these other things that aren't even factual or true, even when the facts are right in front of their eyes. It's totally wild. Human psychology is fascinating. So all I'm asking of you is, are you making progress and you're not letting yourself see it? Is that you? Okay, let's move on. Second question I'd ask you, if you said, I can't lose weight no matter what, I'd say, are your expectations realistic? I had someone message me on Facebook the other day saying she had only lost 12 pounds in 2 months. Listen, fat loss is supposed to be slow. That's normal. The problem is a lot of people compare themselves to their friends and husbands, partners, all the people they see around them who are crash dieting. My husband's doing keto and he's losing weight faster than me. I'm so mad. I mean, listen, if you can follow keto or a certain way of eating until the day you die, and that way of eating makes you feel great and is fantastic for you, great. Keep going. Keep doing it. But if not, why are you spending any time wasting any of your mental effort comparing yourself to your friends, family, and partners who are crash dieting? That's like comparing apples to hammers. They're not even comparable. Or comparing yourself to like people you see on social media in highlight reels. A lot of these people are created with AI these days. I mean, influencers are creating photos and videos, and then they're layering on a filter with AI to look like they have a smaller waist or a six-pack. They're photoshopped and manipulated. And the problem is you're comparing your body to this AI Photoshop person's body or somebody who probably has like a disordered eating behavior. One of the reasons I share some of my exercise routine in the gym is so you can see a normal body, a normal midlife body. Not somebody who's got like a six-pack. What a normal woman who, is active and healthy and fit, what they look like. Not somebody who is looks like a bodybuilder that's really rigid and strict with their body. Like, do you know what you're going to actually have to do to have a six-pack and look that way? You're not going to like what you have to do with food to do that, because those people in my book, they're doing extreme things. They're just not telling you that on social media. Fat loss is supposed to be slow. It's normal. Fat loss is monotonous. It's boring. It's like your hair growing out. Like, do you sit around watching your hair grow out? Most people week to week have no clue that their hair is growing out. I have really long hair. It's usually about 3 months before I notice my hair is getting long and it needs to get cut. Welcome to how fat loss works. It's slow. It should be so slow it feels like it couldn't possibly be working. That's normal. Most of you look at yourselves in the mirror and pick yourselves apart. Look at this belly, look at this butt, look at this hips, look at these thighs. Then you're feeling gross and repulsed by yourself. Then every day you're like obsessing. I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat. I'm gross, I'm gross, I'm gross. When is this fat going to come off? Do you think you're going to make any progress with that attitude? Do you think you're going to spot progress or success with a mindset like that? No, no, no. You're literally training your brain to see how fat you are and to hide any progress or success from you. You are training your brain to see you're gross, you're fat, and your brain goes, okay, I'll just highlight that to you all the time, how fat and gross you are. Your mindset going into this is the problem. If you don't change that, you could have literally all the results in the world and you're still going to feel disappointed. You're still going to feel like you're not enough. And this is why people will say things like, I only lost 12 pounds in 2 months. So many of you are putting yourselves in mental diet prisons because your expectations are unrealistic. So, question is, you can't lose weight no matter what. Are your expectations unrealistic? Question number 3. Has it been long enough? How many months has it been since you've been consistently following a plan? When I ask women this, they'll say it's been 3 weeks, and my response is, that's not long enough. Fat loss is slow, but here's the mindset shift I want you to think about. You've spent how many years of your life overweight? 50 years, 20 years, 5 years, 10 years. If you lose your weight in 18 months, that is realistic progress, I'd say, for most people. 18 months is probably faster than 5 years, I'm guessing, right? 10 years, 18 months is faster than 20 years, 50 years, however long you've been dealing with this weight. I mean, you can be overweight most of your life, and in 18 months, this stuff can start turning around. But fat loss is not Amazon Prime. But when you choose to shift your mindset and look at it this way, like 18 months is faster than the last 20 years of my life, then it is fast. It is Amazon Prime. 18 months is super fast when you've been dealing with this problem since you were a teenager. right? The problem is you're used to ordering DoorDash and it's at your door in an hour. You're used to grocery delivery and it's in your home in a few hours, or Target pickup and it's ready in 30 minutes, or ordering something from Amazon and it's here tomorrow. You're used to going to Google and finding the answer to any question. You're used to being able to get anything that you want right now today at the snap of your fingers, and then you try to take that same mentality over to fat loss, and it's never going to be like that if you're doing it in a sustainable way. So, if you can't lose weight no matter what, the question is, have you given it long enough? Which leads me right into my next question. Question number 4, have you been consistent enough? I had a conversation with a woman on Instagram who was really frustrated, telling me she was eating in a calorie deficit for 3 years and didn't lose a pound. She told me her deficit was around 1,700 calories, as I recall. And I said, so you've been consistently eating 1,700 calories for 1,000 days? I asked her, can you add up the calories that you ate for the last 1,000 days every single day, get the average to see if you really ate 1,700 calories and how consistent you were? And she told me, well, I had a few months I wasn't tracking, and most weekends I was off track. Oh, okay. So we're not actually being consistent. There's our answer. And that's why there's no results. Ladies, listen closely. There is a massive difference between trying to eat 1,700 calories and really factually eating 1,700 calories. A lot of women are trying or aiming for a calorie number, but in actuality, they're not eating 1,700 calories or whatever the number is. There's a big difference between I'm aiming for this number, I'm targeting for this number, and actually executing to the number. And here's all the data I have to support it. Here's my average calories for the last 1,000 days. There's a big difference, right? So some of you are saying, I can't lose weight no matter what. I've been doing this for 3 years, but you're not doing it for 3 years. Right? Like this person said, there were lots of weekends that she went off track. If you go off track every weekend, that's 42% of your week. Imagine if you got a 42% salary cut. That's a lot. Imagine if somebody took away 42% of your house. That's a lot. There's a big difference between I've eaten perfectly at 1,700 calories for the last 3 years, and here's my average calories for the last 1,000 days to prove it, versus I go off track every weekend and I've had a few months where I didn't track. Now listen, there is absolutely no judgment or shame here, but unless you are at least 80% compliant, do not expect results. Most women, I've noticed, don't want to look at their numbers. And remember, I am not condemning anyone or trying to make anyone feel bad. There is no guilt or shame here, but you do have to get honest with yourself with this stuff. Truth is what you need. Truth with love. Honesty with love. So none of this is coming from a place of judgment or shame or putting you down. It's coming from a place of truth, which is what you need. Because a lot of women say things like, I've been dieting the last 3 years, when in reality, the truth is they haven't been on a diet the last 3 years. They've been on a diet for 4 or 5 days, then fall off for 3 days and have been repeating that cycle for 3 years. Or they've been dieting for a month or 2, then fall off and binge for a couple of weeks, then stay in Screw-Itville for a while. Then at some point they say, I have to get back on track. I'm gross, I'm fat, and the whole cycle repeats itself. So there's a massive difference between I've been consistently hitting and eating, factually eating 1,700 calories perfectly for the last 3 years versus I follow it a couple weeks or days before falling off and repeating this cycle for 3 years. Again, I say this because I want you to be successful. So do not take this out of context. This is not coming from a place of shame, guilt, or judgment. It's coming from a place of truth, and you need to hear the truth. You might not be as consistent as you think you are. You might be aiming or targeting for a number, but in actuality, you're not actually doing that. So if you say, I can't lose weight no matter what, are you as consistent as you think you are? What does your data say? What do your averages say? Okay. Question number 5. Is what you're doing sustainable, and are you trying too hard? So think about the stuff that you're doing to lose weight. Is it practical? Can you follow the way that you're eating? The principles of how you're eating. Can you follow that until you're 85 years old? And I'm not talking about the calorie deficit part. The calorie deficit part is not what you do forever. That is something you do short term. Are you trying too hard? Are you doing things that are unsustainable? Here's examples of what I mean by trying too hard. Are you cutting out entire food groups and making it hard on yourself by restricting foods you love so much? Telling yourself you can't enjoy ice cream or eat pizza with your family? Are you taking your calories way too low and starving? Are you expecting too much from yourself because of your perfectionist tendencies? You can't do this stuff from a place of desperation. I'm so fat, I'm so gross. I'm desperate to get out of this. Working from a place of desperation is like the sleazy salesperson at a car dealership who just won't leave you alone, and they just kind of drive you away. You're like, I want to get out of here. I don't want to buy this vehicle because he's so sleazy and pushy. Or it's kind of like, the guy who just won't leave you alone at the bar. He's trying so hard to get your number, trying so hard to go out on a date with you and get your number that it turns you off and you run the other way. You leave the bar. You don't want to give the man a chance because he's way too pushy. He's too hard and drives you away. If you are trying too hard, like the sleazy sales guy or the guy in the bar trying too hard to date you, maybe this is why you are not able to lose weight. Maybe you're driving your own results away. Maybe you're doing everything to lose weight and nothing happens no matter how hard you try, perhaps because that energy is so negative, it's causing you to stress. It's causing you to overeat. It's causing you to blow yourself up. You do your habits for a while and then you stop because it's way too aggressive. And maybe that negative energy triggers you to overeat foods that you think are bad, foods that are less nutritious because your relationship with food still sucks. Maybe all you do is think about how, you're trying to do everything and this is so hard. And maybe because you're in that state of lack, you begin to self-sabotage. You either know what to do and don't do it, or you don't show up for yourself. Maybe it's the fact that you're pushing too hard, trying too hard, instead of just taking repeated action at a lower, more manageable level and letting it happen. Not being super aggressive, not pushing for it to happen. At the end of the day, all you can control are your actions and how you show up for yourself. You don't get to control how and when the scale changes and when the results come. So you might as well focus on the stuff that you get to control in this game, on what you can do. And I will tell you, after coaching women the last 10 years, the people who try to force things to happen, they take the longest to get to where they want to be. And the people who say, I'm going to do the best that I can, I'm going to let the results come when they come, they are the people who get the faster results. They're the ones that bust out of the diet prison. And it's because they're focused on the actions, not the results. So I mentioned a client earlier who began losing weight at 230 pounds, and I had another client a few years ago, very similar to her actually. Her weight was around 230 pounds when we started, and she dropped several inches, improved her body composition by putting on more muscle, and she went down 2 pant sizes. However, her scale weight stayed at 230 for several months. Then finally the scale caught up and dropped to 215, and then many months after that, it came just under 200 pounds. It took almost 18 months for her scale weight to come down. That scale can be stinky, I'm telling you. Sometimes it just takes a long time to catch up to what you're doing with your habits. Most women are giving up 3 weeks or 3 months in. Are you giving it 18 months? Like my client did? Probably not. I mean, the only thing you get to control in this game, guys, are the actions you take, your habits. And just doing those actions, those boring things over and over and over again. And you should be doing them not just to lose weight, but because they are good for you. You're taking care of your health. So is why you're not losing weight no matter what you do because you're trying too hard? I've had clients tell me over the years that they can't believe it's not hard and how the things they were doing prior to working with me were so hard. And how now they're no longer starving, how surprised they are at how little exercise they actually need to do to reach their goals, how much they're eating, how full they feel, how surprised they are that they're losing body fat and inches are going down and not feeling like it's so hard like some of the diets they did before. I often hear from people, I feel like I should be hungrier. I feel like I should be working out more. I feel like my calories should be lower. I feel like I'm not doing enough. How am I getting this progress, Megan? And it doesn't feel hard. It should be hard if I have to reach this goal of losing weight. It's because this journey of losing weight is not about the intensity or effort. It's not about how much you change at one time or how healthy of an eater you can be or how many foods you can cut out. It's about being effective and doing the minimum effective dose. Doing the minimum effective dose and getting consistent with it makes it a lot easier. Keeping calories higher, making meals more filling instead of low-calorie, Weight Watcher-esque meals, doing fewer workouts that are actually more targeted towards your goals, doing less complicated meal prep. The harder you make it, the more your adherence is going to go down. The more your self-sabotage is going to go up. The more you're going to feel defeated, the more burnt out you're going to be, the more you're going to go from feeling motivated and excited about this goal of losing weight and feeling great to what's the point, and then you end up in screw it, Bill. Most women who tell me they can't lose weight no matter how hard they try, it's almost always because they're doing things too aggressively. Think of it this way. You could theoretically drive your car 100 miles an hour to the store, and while on paper that's faster than 25 miles an hour, is that really going to get you to the store faster? Probably not, because you're going to get pulled over by the police or get into an accident. So you're saying I have to get to the store as fast as possible is actually slowing you down. Yes, you are physically going faster than 25, but you're getting stopped by cops and accidents. So for those of you saying you can't lose weight no matter what, is it because you're trying to speed things up when it's not supposed to be like that? And that's causing you to sabotage? That's causing you to overeat, lose motivation, slow your metabolism, stay stressed about food and obsessed about your weight in the scale? Good question to ask yourself, right? So question 6, I can't lose weight no matter what. Maybe you need to come out of your deficit and go into maintenance. So a lot of women that I work with are terrified of going into maintenance and to not be calorically restricted. This is not healthy. If you are scared of going in maintenance and not depriving your body any longer, there's a problem. There's some disordered thinking here. The first thing is you need to remember that your body adapts in a caloric deficit. If you go into a calorie deficit, and let's say your calorie deficit is 1,400 calories, at some point your body is going to conserve energy and adapt to make the 1,400 calories your new maintenance. Your metabolism will downregulate and make other adaptations like preventing women from having a menstrual cycle, as an example, to compensate for you being in a prolonged caloric deficit where you're depriving and restricting your body of calories. Some individuals do play this game of lowering and lowering and lowering their calories when their body adapts. And before you know it, they're eating like 1,000 calories as their deficit. That is not a good game to play. And it's why I'm so opposed to the 800-calorie diets and the Optavia and whatever other diets are putting people on these really low-calorie diets. Your body is going to be smarter than you, and it's going to outsmart you at some point. This is why it's important, number one, not to stay in a calorie deficit for too long, and number two, bring calories up to maintenance for a few months, even if you have more weight to lose. My clients, we do nutritional periodization where we phase between calorie deficits and maintenance. And we do this to protect the metabolism. We do this to protect hormone health. A while back, I had a client who lost weight doing Optavia, and at some point she stopped because she loved exercising, and they kept telling her, you can't exercise on this diet. And for her, she was like, this doesn't make sense, so she stopped doing Optavia. And this is a big red flag, by the way. Any program that says don't exercise, that's a big red flag that what you're doing is very dangerous, and you probably shouldn't be doing it. So anyways, this client began counting calories when she stopped doing Optavia. She was eating around 1,400 calories, but she was feeling really terrible, hungry all the time, low energy, snacky, not recovering from her workouts well, not sleeping well. And so she came to work with me. And I worked with her to bring her calories up. She's now eating 2,100 calories and maintaining her weight. She feels great. And she told me the other day, she's like, I can't even imagine going back to 1,400 calories now because of how much better I feel. And this is an example of someone who needed to go into maintenance. This is who I'm talking to in this question. Because this client, the issue was she was keeping her calories too low. She wasn't exiting out of her diet. You have to understand that one of the worst diet strategies is to stay calorically deprived until all your weight comes off. There are some women who come to me eating 800 calories, 1,000 calories, 1,200 calories. I have to work with them first to bring their calories up because they are so calorically deprived. This puts a lot of stress on your metabolism and on your hormones and your thyroid, by the way, too. This is not a good thing. And if these clients that I work with who come to me who are doing this, if they are actually eating like 800 or 1,000 calories a day, there's no place to drop calories from there. There's nowhere to go. So instead, we have to build up their caloric tolerance up first before we can think about doing any more deficits or dieting. And I have to say that bringing calories up for clients who are in this scenario or just exiting a diet and going back to maintenance, I have to say a lot of women I've worked with are super freaked out and scared to do this. I see so many women having like mental breakdowns and anxiety with bringing calories up to maintenance. This is not healthy if this is you. If you are going back, if going back to maintenance creates a lot of fear and anxiety for you, it's time to get some help. All you're doing when you go back to maintenance is giving your body what it needs. You are maintaining. Why women think they're going to gain a zillion pounds going back to maintenance, it doesn't make any sense to me. Again, your feelings are not facts. You may feel like you're going to gain weight going back to maintenance, wherever your new maintenance is, but that's not the fact if it's a true maintenance for you. So if we have a lot of anxiety and fear about going back to maintenance, we need to get some help. So, question becomes though, if you've been dieting and calorically deprived for a long time, maybe is the reason why you can't lose weight anymore because you need to take a diet break and bring your calories up to maintenance? Question number 7. I can't lose weight no matter what. What's your mindset? If you say, I can't lose weight no matter how hard I try, and you fall off your plan and sabotage frequently, I'm willing to bet it's your mindset. And you have to fix your mindset before you diet for real. Do you find yourself always sabotaging? You're always overeating or binging, starting over every Monday or every morning. It's like a clean slate and you try to be good every morning until it falls apart at night, or you fall off plan on the weekends, or you do the whole I know what to do, but I don't do it thing, or your relationship with food is so bad that you're obsessed around certain foods. You can't stop thinking about food. Are you good? Are you bad? Or you just can't bring yourself to do anything because you're not motivated, or you always find yourself trying to be perfect until something happens and you fall off plan and sabotage. All those things are mindset issues, not nutrition or food issues. These are signs you have mindset issues. Women tell me this all the time. I do well until the weekends. I do well until I go on vacation. I do well until I eat this certain food and I obsess about it. I do well until my kids drive me crazy. I do well in the morning until the night comes along. I do well until my mother-in-law makes me mad, right? All these things, I hear them so frequently. Well, here's the thing. You can't calorie deficit your way out of these problems. Just like you can't out-exercise a bad diet, you also cannot calorie deficit a bad mindset? Mindset is the issue the majority of my clients that I see in my nutrition practice are dealing with. And that's why they end up working with me, because you can't calorie deficit your way out of an all or nothing mindset and being a perfectionist and having a terrible relationship with food. You can't out calorie deficit a bad mindset. If you have a poor relationship with food, more restriction and deprivation doesn't make that better. You can't MyFitnessPal your way out of this. Like, you can MyFitnessPal all you want, but counting calories and tracking food doesn't fix a poor relationship with food or perfectionist tendencies or self-sabotaging ways. If you sabotage subconsciously because you have a belief that you're not good enough or that you'll never figure this out, why bother doing anything because nothing ever works out for you anyways, then guess what? No workout plan, no nutrition plan, no meal plan, or calorie number is going to do anything for you. If you have a bad relationship with food and once you stop eating certain foods, you can't stop, a better meal plan or grocery list isn't going to do anything for you. If you binge because of a bad day and because you have a lot of stress or your emotions are all over the place, a food tracking app won't do anything for you. It's not going to save the day. A hormone balancing meal plan isn't going to do anything either. If you can't lose weight, no matter what, no matter how hard you try, no matter how many tricks you do, it's probably your mindset. And if you have an issue with your mindset, it's probably time that you get help with your mindset, because I don't think you're going to be able to read enough books to fix some of these behavioral patterns. It's probably time to get help, okay? Just like if you were dealing with depression or anxiety, you would go to a therapist. You wouldn't try to read online or figure it out reading a book. Last one, question number 8. I can't lose weight no matter what. Are you being honest with yourself? Oof. Okay, so this one requires a lot of self-accountability and ownership, which is tough to do. So are you being honest with yourself? As in, do you track everything you eat? Or do you say, I ate this food or I ate all these things and I didn't want to track them. I feel bad about these things and so I don't want to put them in the app. I want to pretend like they didn't happen. I don't want to see that. Or I didn't track all weekend because I ate like a jerk. What if you were actually coaching yourself? Put your own coaching hat on and think to yourself, like, what would you say to yourself if you were the coach? You know yourself better than anyone else. What areas could you improve on? What are some of the things you could try? There is not a world that exists where you are doing everything right and getting zero results. This violates the law of physics. I know there's a lot of people who try to say physics is not a thing, but there's still yet to be any scientific studies that show it's not. This is still the fact, the scientific fact. And I know that's hard to hear. If you say I do everything right, but nothing's working, don't stay there in frustration, please. And don't lie to yourself. All that does is shut your brain off from finding the solutions you need. Instead, say to yourself, I must not be doing something right. Something is off. What might that be? This line of questioning opens your brain to finding answers and finding possible solutions to figure this out. If you say I'm doing everything right and I can't lose weight no matter what I try or do, that's a very closed or fixed mindset. But when you say, I'm doing all these things and I'm not getting results, what might be off? What might I not be doing well enough? What might I be missing? Is my consistency off? What does my data say? Is my data off? Now your brain is open to finding the potential missing links and it's not so closed off. Be your own coach. Ask your own questions of yourself like a coach would. Get curious. It's wild how many women I speak to who know they're being dishonest with themselves and trying to convince themselves they're doing everything right. Listen, I've done this too. Last year, I shared with you guys how I discovered I was eating 400 calories of chocolate every day and confused why I was gaining weight because I kept telling myself, I eat healthy and work out. It was because I wasn't really open to looking for solutions until I really got honest with myself. And deep down, I knew. I knew that some of these habits were probably sabotaging, but I was hoping that I could get away with it, like a lot of you do, right? So I got honest with myself. And then once I did that, I was able to figure out what was off and change it. And when you are honest with yourself, do this in a way where you're not judging yourself, please. You are improving yourself. That's a great thing. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. We all have things to work on or improve, so just keep the judgment out of it and try to look at this as if you were a coach or if this was something you were looking at in your job. It's data. You have to learn to look at things objectively in your weight loss journey. Otherwise, it's a constant battle. And this kind of goes back to what I just talked about with, is your mindset off? Because if you're somebody who struggles with self-judgment and shaming yourself and guilting yourself, it's possible your mindset needs a lot of help. Okay? Mindset kind of plays into all of these things that we talked about today. Anyways, these are 8 questions why I can't lose weight no matter what. 8 questions for you to dive into. I hope that this conversation was helpful for you today, ladies. I will talk to you soon. Hey, if you enjoyed this podcast, you have to come check out my free weight loss class. It's the 5 steps to lasting weight loss, how hormones impact weight loss, and the truth about lasting weight loss without relying on willpower, workouts, or deprivation. Click the link in the show notes to watch that free class today. And if you are a woman over 35 with 20 to 50 or more pounds to lose, schedule a free weight loss breakthrough session with me after you watch that class, and let's talk about your 20 to 50 or more pound weight loss plan.